collects are inside the bucket or inside of the collection must be of the same type. Now, talk of array list. These ones I'm going to be mentioning, and they are the ones you need at least for your start. Represent, collect data basically. But the thing about array list is that it doesn't keep your it doesn't keep your items in. Okay, let's say it allows you to put in duplicate elements in an array list. So I can have one several number of times in my array list. I can have two several number of times in my array list. So this is for array list. This is a unique thing about array list. And you can add in any particular order. You can add in any particular index. Can you guys hear me? Okay, so you can add in any particular order. You can add in any particular index. Now, the thing about set is that it doesn't allow duplicate elements inside of it. So this set is the one you've always known from your elementary school. It doesn't allow duplicate elements to be stored in it. So this is for set and for array list. Now, before I speak more on a number of other ones, I would prefer to just show you how to create an array list in Java. So to create an array list, we go with array list. Now observe that Java is already giving me suggestions. And all I need to do at this point is to hit enter. It's already selected the first one. If I hit enter, now it has completed the statement for me. So all I need to do is, and observe that as I hit enter, an importation statement came up here. And I'm coming back to this to tell you what it means. So array list, what is this my array to store for me? What is it? What data type is it to hold for me? It could be a collection of. Let's start with a collection of. Okay, let's start the barest minimum integer. Now this is how you represent that this array list is to carry integers. And I can tell you that I have to give it a name. Let's say int, okay, int array, and say new array list. Yeah. So just by doing this, I've created a bucket, a handle, a container that we have that will hold a list or an array list of integers for me. I've just created this just by this line of statement, but it is empty at this point in time because we've not put in any value in it. We just told Java or IntelliJ that by this line of code, I want to store elements inside of this array list, basically. Remember, this one is just the variable name. So to observe, so I will just go through line by line. This is array list. If it that is to hold inside of this diamond bracket, we open and close. Then the type of data follows, and then you give it the name, and then you come here and tell it new. Remember that you use new anytime you want to create a new object. That applies to collection also. Now this one is the normal way we represent our constructor. This opening and closing brackets. But only that this time, this diamond bracket would come before our opening and closing bracket to tell you that it's a collection that we're trying to work with. Now, if I want to populate this my array list, all I need to just do is to what? I will tell it int array. Of course, you go by the name you've called it. Int array dot this array collections in general have different methods that are attached to them. So by me just putting in dots here, you can see all of the list that is suggesting to me, all of the methods that is suggesting to me. Everything here work with the array list basically. So we have add. This is to add element into our array list to populate it. And now we have another. Remember what I told you about overloaded methods? They have the same name but different number of parameters. Now this is an example of an overloaded method. This add you're seeing here. So and this particular first one is to add to the last position. This first one you're seeing here. And then this second one is to give it a position that I want to add it to. So it's possible that our array list is a list of 5 elements. Now I want to insert at position 2 or position 4. So with this particular one, it gives us the ability to do that. So we would make use of this particular one later in the future. Now there's another method called get. Now in get, you pass in the index position you want to get. If for example our array list has 10 elements in it and I need position 7, all I need to do is to do dot get and pass in position 6 if I want element at 7. The reason why it is 6 is because in programming your count starts counting from 0. You start counting from 0 in programming basically. Someone wants to join. So if I want the first element, I'll do dot get, I'll pass in 0. If I want the second element, I'll do dot get, I'll pass in, the system is on. So I'll pass in 1. This is for the second element. So if I want the 7th element, what I will do is dot get 6. Does this make sense to all of us? You need answer before we continue.
Yeah, Thomas.
All right.
No, I want to this before you start. How did you come about this package com.example.exchange?
Okay, I'm coming to leave about package first, and we'll come to that. For the array list, yeah, remind me about that. For the array list, is it clear so far? Blue color. Is blue color still there? I can't hear. What about Abigail?
I'm here.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So just all right. So we have a number of other methods. As you can see, there is clear. If you want to empty your array list, there is clone, there is contains. If you want to check if our array list contains any particular object, from time to time, I would anyway, I'll be interchanging elements or objects to represent the whatever our array list is contained. I could call it object, I could call it element. Just know that I'm referring to the elements contained in the entities contained in our array list. So there is dot equals. This one enables us to compare to make comparisons basically. So there's remove. This is to remove. This one is also overloaded. This remove method. So this particular one is to remove an object basically and to remove an element. This one you're seeing here. And then the second one is to remove an element at a particular index. So this is an overloaded method you're seeing here. And then there's remove of. And then a number of other ones. There is size. This one you use it a lot too. You use this one a lot. Size. This is to get our array size. So if you have 2 elements inside of our array list, the size would be 2. If you have 10 elements in it, the size would be 10. And then again, you can see set. Sorry for the background noise. So you can see set also. Set is to allow you to modify the element at a particular index. So if we have an array list of 5 elements, and on the fourth position, and by fourth position that means index 3. Remember, I'll start counting from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So anytime I say index, I'm referring to the positions typically in programming. So on index 3, which is like the fourth position in layman understanding. So I could want to update the element there. So you use set to do that kind of thing. But before you use many of these things, say for example, want to update that's making use of set, you want to do a number of other things. What you need first is to populate our array list because it's empty. Because we told you that this is an array list of integers, everything you'll be adding to it is going to be of type integer. That's whole number. Here, specify that it's going to be an array list of integer. This is the point where I did that. But it's still empty at this point though. It's still empty. Now, from this line, the size is going to be what? 1, because I've added 4 to it. Now, if I want to add more elements to it, what I need to do is just continue adding. Now, I could want to print on my console to see the value, to see the elements in my array list. What I could do is to south int array. Let's say before modification int array. Now after this is before modification, I could then want to update our element at index 1. At index 1, the element there is 10. At index 0, the element there is 4. Because 4 was added first, it's going to be on index 0. And then because 10 was added second, it's going to be on index 1. If I went ahead to add more elements, say I want to add 7. 7 is then going to be on index 2. Now, after everything, what I could do is to modify the index position of 1. And to do that, can you remember the method I said you could use to do that? That is set. Now to set, you pass in the position you want to modify. And what you want to modify is on position 1. Say for example, I now want to change it to 20. If I print this again, it's going to if I print this, the first time is going to give us 4 times 7. And if I print the second time, this will be after modification. It should place what I'm to put there is the value I wish to update with. Is everything clear so far?
No.
Can you tell me the part that you need clarifications?
Huh?
Just mention the part you need clarifications with.
Okay, start from int array.add4.
Okay, so from this part bar, that's from here.
No. Yes, from there, yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I was saying before that you understand that ArrayList is going to be storing some elements for me, and the element is going to be storing is going to be of the type I specify in here, which is integer. I believe this is close so far. Now all I did is to create a list. At this point, all I did was to create, create a list, and this is empty so far. Now, after creating it, our list is then going to be like this: 4. This is index 0. This is what this line does for me. And now on the second line, I'm now adding more values to it. What am I adding on this second one? I'm adding 10. But remember, it still holds the first one. This is on index 1. So that's what this line does for me. And then on this third one, I'm adding more items to my list. I'm adding more items to my list. Okay. And what are we adding on this third line? We're adding 7. But remember, it still holds the old values we added. We didn't remove it. If you wanted to remove it, you could remove it, but we're not removing. It's okay by you. Do you understand?
No, my network is not really okay. Maybe I'll go through the thing later. I didn't even get the
Okay.
when you were explaining.
Okay.
My network was bad. So
Okay.
I couldn't
Okay.
get
No, you see the results later.
explanation.
So, Bukola and Amarati, this makes sense to you, right?
Somehow, yes.
Mara?
I said yes.
Okay. I thought that was Bukola. How about Bukola? Sorry?
Lumi, the part I don't understand is the 1 and 20.
Okay. I think I'll need to shut down. I need to shut down my system. I wanted to point to the console so you guys see what's actually happening. This build, run. Okay. I want to print on my console, but it's taking too much time. I actually need to shut down the system. That's why it's behaving like this. Yeah. So I wanted to print. If I printed this on my console, this this would be 4, 10, 7. And then this particular line, what I'm doing is to change the value that is on position 1. That's what this particular line is doing for us. Someone. Okay. Okay. This is done. Okay, that's fine. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, Bukola, can you see that? And now with this line, I'm modifying the value that, let me comment it, modifying the value at index 1. So I'm modifying the value. I remember I told you start counting from 0 in programming. You start counting from 0. So for the for this order, after we added 10 to the list, we now have 2 positions basically, which is 0 and the value there is 4, and and um, and 1, and the value there is 10. And now we added 7 again. Now we have 3 positions, which is 0, 1, and 2 respectively. And we have 4, 10, and 7 in those positions. So by this line, all I just did was to see what my list was like after adding everything. And then by this line, what I did is to set our distance, to set the value that was on position 1. And if you look, the value that was on position 1 is 10, and we modified it to what? 20. And if you look, compare these two positions, that's index 1. You can see that that value there, originally, which was 10, has been changed to 20. And then we try to print, by this line, we're printing our list basically. So this line gives us this, and this other one gives us Exactly. Exactly so far.
I'm sorry, I still don't get this 1 and 20.
Okay. Okay.
Where did the 20 come from? Do you mean you're adding to 20, but you have index 0 to 20? We're
Okay.
not writing that list. We're
Okay.
not writing index 3, index 4 till 20.
Okay. So let's do it like this. I'll be speaking. You'll be following. You have to reply. So let's do dot set. Can you see what is showing us here? Are you seeing the first parameter that is to take?
Yes.
It wrote in index bar, and that's to tell it to the index that you want to modify. Can you see the second parameter that is taken?
Yes.
That's the element I want to modify that index with. In this my array list, how many elements do we have? At this point, how many elements do I have in my array list?
3.
Exactly. I have
3.
I have 4, 10, and 7. And the index that corresponds to these elements are 0, 1, and 2. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to modify I want to modify I want to modify 10 basically. And to do that, what I need to know is the position where 10 is. And what's the position of 10? The position of 10 is what? 1. Do you understand it?
Yes.
Exactly. Now, what do I want to update 10 with? Remember the second parameter I told you that what it takes is what? The elements you want to update it with. So what do you want to update index 1 with? You want to update it with 20. You may want to update it with any other thing, say 9. Then initially it's going to be like this. But after updating, if I print again, it's going to then be 4, 9, and 7. If I print on my console. So this first place is the index we wish to update. This second place is the value we are updating with. Is it now okay?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Another element which is now 9 and not 20.
Is how is index 10? How is 10 index 1?
Because it takes the order with which I added it here. I added this one first, and therefore it is index 0. I added this one second, that's my 10, and therefore it is index 1. It increases in natural order of counting. So if I add another one, it's going to be what? Index 2. And if I add another one, which I'm not adding, it's going to be 3. Just like that, it progresses up. Does it make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
The order which I add specify the index the elements carry. Exactly.
Yes.
Fine. Okay. So this is just for set. Now we could play around with method to other methods that are built in to just know what's up. We could play around with size. If I went ahead to print the size of this my array list now, what would it be? Can anyone tell me?
I didn't get your question.
If I went ahead to make use of size, and print it on my console, what would it be?
I think size has to do with the total number of things you added on your list. So it should be 3 for now.
It should be what?
3.
Yes, that's correct. Because there are three elements that I've added so far: 4, 10, and 7. There are three elements I've added so far: 4, 10, and 7. Now, do not confuse size with index. Don't confuse size with index. Usually, the last element in array lists, um, the index of the last element in array list, it's usually -1 of the size. And what that means is, if the size of my array list is 3, like this one is, the last element, which is 7, is at index 3 minus 1, which is 2. If I know it will make sense, or does it even make sense before I do what I want to do now? Does it make sense to anyone?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, okay. Let me add another element. Let's say I add, let's say I add 5. What would be the size of my array list at this point?
4.
4, right? Is it 4?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the last?
Yes, your list.
Exactly. So what's the last element in this my array list? What's the last element? Okay, let me type in it out. Let me type in it out.
Fine.
Size 4. What's the last element? What's the last element?
5.
Should be fine.
5, right? Now, what's the index of the last element?
Index 3.
Index 3,
3.
right? Exactly. Now, that's what I was mentioning earlier. Usually, the size is plus 1 of the index of the last element. Observe that you know, observe that the index of the last element is 3 and the size is 4. That's what I'm saying. Do not confuse size with index of last element. Is it clear now? So again, if I went ahead to add one more element, say 24, 23, to this thing, our size will grow to what? 5. And what that means is that index of the last element should then be 4. Because we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's for the index. But altogether, the size starts counting from 1. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the difference between index and size. So here the last element changes to what? 23. Is it okay now? Is it clear? Is it clear? I need answers.
You said index starts from 1, 2, 3. But your own started from 1, 0.
I say two things. I say two things about index and size. Index. When you think of index, you think of position. They start counting from 0. You can write it down so you always remember. Position starts counting from 0, but size starts counting from 1. Because if you have one element inside our bucket, the size will be 1. If you add one more element, the size will be 2. But their positions is what starts counting from 0. Is this clear? So you can put this down. You can write it down so you
Yeah.
don't forget. Yes. So position Position is start counting from okay, they start counting from 0, but size start counting from 1. Okay, so I'll make use of this now. Alright, okay. Can you guys see this? Are you still there?
Yes.
Alright. So this counting, you start counting, sure this should help. Does it help?
Yes.
Very well.
Do with cards, dog, and all that.
Yeah.
Are we going to say boolean array dot add cat, boolean array dot add dog?
Of course, you can do that kind of thing.
Oh,
You can do that kind of thing.
okay,
Should we
okay.
do it? Should we do it? You can go ahead to do it. So for this particular one you're seeing here, what we could do, sorry for the noise. What we could do is to create a different array list to do for that one. And what object is it called in Java?
A string.
Exactly. You're correct. So what we need to do here is to tell it that it's going to be an array list of what? String. Let's say the name of this array list is animals. It's going to be a new array list of what? Animals. So at this point it is empty. And now what's the first animal on the list? Cats, then dogs, rabbits, then squirrels and hamsters. Then to do that, we do animals dot cat. What are we adding? Cats. We've added cats. And then again, the second animal is dog. We do animals dot add dogs. So you see, ArrayList doesn't only take integers. I told you that it takes objects, and to tell you the kind of object it takes, we specify it in this diamond bracket. And then the third animal should be rabbits. And then the other animal should be, and then the last one should be so this thing you're seeing here now is basically this thing you're seeing here. As this thing is lined up here, so this is on index 0. Let's copy, paste, 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 paste. What position is this DOS going to be?
One.
1. Um, 1 second. Alright. And this one is going to be what? 2. Is Abigail still here?
I'm here.
Okay, that's fine. So we have these three things like this now. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the picture form, this is it. 0, 1. Are we clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. So if I do sort, dot what I could do is to do self animals dot size. So what I'm doing in essence is I want to, let's say, the size of animal array list is this. Okay. If I went ahead to print this in the system, okay, the other thing I may want to do is what? To do to print each of the elements by their index. Let's say I want to print animal. Okay, this is before modification and after modification. I'll comment this. Let's say I want to print animals dot. If I want to get, okay, what I want to make use of now is get. Get is for you to get the object that is on a particular index. So, for example, I want to get rabbits. What am I supposed to do? Which index am I to specify inside of here? The rabbit I want to get now.
2.
Exactly. So if I do animals dot get so it will go and look inside of this animal array list and get the object or element that is on position. So this is position 1, this is position 0, position 1, and position 2. It's going to get the element that's on position 2 and print it out for me. Now I could go ahead and start doing this thing 1 1 and say I want to print animals dot get position 3. If I do position 3, that should give me this Jelius. Now, alternatively, what I could do is to save my time the stress of doing everything 1 1 and simply use the for loop. The concept of for loop. Remember for loop. For loop allows you to iterate over any iterables. Iterables include array list. It includes string. So string is an iterable because it can count from C to A to T to S. ArrayList is also an iterable because it can go from cat to dog to rabbit to zeros to hamsters. Now to print the elements in this my array list, I could do that with a for loop. For remember the way to the convention to write for loop. Hence, I could make my I to start counting from 0, and then what's on the second this thing. Can anyone remember? The first one is where to start counting from, which is index 0, and then the second one. What is normally on the second one for my for loop? Is anyone there?
Is it not the next one?
Sorry?
1.
On the second this thing, partitioning of my is you know the for loop takes three this thing, 3 inputs per se, like 3 partitions. The first one is what I've just written. That's where to start counting from. And then the second this thing, what do we specify? You should remember now. Abigail, any attempt? Bukola.
Is it the greater than
Yes, that's the
minus something
Yes.
something?
Because you always like you sincerely have to be attempting these things on your own. Because everything we're doing in class is definitely not going to be enough. It will never be enough. So the second part, Adobe, I'm sure you should remember this. I'm not sure why you don't. So the second part takes in the condition that will make it terminate. Remember, without that condition, it will run forever. So I could say for I, for as long as I is less than, pay attention closely. For as long as I is less than what I want to do is to print all the elements in all the elements in animals object, animal array list. So I could do for I, for as long as, what's the size of this array list? 5, right? 5. And then say, so what's on the third part? On the third part was the what?
Rabbit.
Sorry? I didn't say the, I
Rabbit.
didn't, no, I didn't say the third element.
Okay, sorry. I don't know.
And by the way, the
I,
third,
I think it's I plus 1. I
exactly,
plus I plus 1.
you're correct. I plus plus. And then do whatever I want to do inside of here. So if I want, what I want to do is to print all the elements that's inside of my animals array list. What I could do is animals dot get I. So what it will do is it will it will check for I is equal to 0. It will try to print the element that is in position what? I, which is 0 for the first time. And the element is what? Cat. And then it will go again 1, and that will be what? Dog. And then it will increase again by 1. It will now become 2. What's our element on index 2? Rabbit. It will print rabbit. And then it will increase again by 1. What's our element in position 3? Gavios. And then
Yeah.
yeah, because I know my last so it's going to print cats, dogs, rabbits, gavios, hamsters. So on my system, I'm expecting to see it in this particular order. All right, so this is it. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
All right. So what I want to mention now, what if we don't know, what if we don't know the size of our array list, our array list? What if you don't know the size? Can you observe that this particular number I wrote here, which is 5, is the same as this thing that was printed there? It says the size of animal array list is 5. Can you observe that this 5, which is coming from here, animal that size, is the same with what I had coded here, 5. Can you see that? Can you see that?
Yes.
Now I'm saying this because there are instances where you will not know the size of your array list. When you start doing big projects, you may not know the size of our array list. Now, if you now leave it as 5, probably our array list increases by more values. It's going to print for only this condition I've specified. That's these animals. What about if it has grown? Okay, let's add more values now. Let's add more values now. Let's add more values. I'll say horses. I'll say donkeys. I could say rats. And then I'll print again. Can you guess what would happen? Can you guess the value that we printed in our console? Anyone?
I think it will probably stop at 5.
Sorry?
When you run it, I think it will stop at 5.
5. So
Because
which
that's
so
where we've asked it to
so
stop.
which value are we expecting on our console? What are the animals to be printed? List
5.
them out. What are the animals to list?
Cats
List them accordingly.
to
It's
Sorry?
hamster. It should print from cats to hamster. That's five.
Why wouldn't he print this other three?
Because we've already asked it to stop at five.
To stop at
That's what I
five.
think.
Sorry, come again. Come again now. Come again.
Okay, I'm saying that we've already programmed it
Yeah.
to stop at five.
Right. So it will not include
So
these three.
you say
So it will not include these three, right?
yes, that's what I think.
Exactly. So what can we do to make it include these three?
You need to change the sign to greater than one, two, three, four,
Okay. So
five.
before you change it, do you agree with what Abigail said? Is it true that it will print only these four elements and not
Yes.
Okay. What about Ada? Do you agree to print only these four elements and not include these other things?
yes.
So what? Okay, I'm assuming you all go with the same reason that you said that you should do for as long as I is less than five, right? Right?
Yes.
Okay, so what can we do to include this other three? Since you guys said it will not print this three, what can we do to include the three?
We need to change the size. It's not eight. The size of the object or is the element is now eight. So I think where we have 4 int I equals zero and all that, we need to change that place to that five to eight
Exactly,
because the size is now eight.
exactly,
I
and
less
therefore,
than eight.
it will do for index five, index six, index seven. Is this what you're saying? Come on now, is that what you're saying?
No, we're not using index, we're using the size.
Okay. What is Abigail and Ada?
Yes, I can hear.
Do you agree with what she suggested?
Yes.
Okay, that's actually correct. So we change this to what? 8. Abi?
Yes.
Exactly, it's correct. But before I change it, let's check what our console is printing. You can see it's printing the same values: cat, dogs, rabbits, and it doesn't include this other three, which was correct. And it's telling here that the size of the array list is what? 8. Abi?
Yes. Yes.
That's correct. And so what we can do is to what? Change this to 8. So what I want to point out here is to save yourself the stress of always having to update this thing to to any number that we add. To save yourself the stress of updating it from 5 to 8, what you can do is to use this thing, this hint that has been given to you here. You observe that anytime we add, this thing gets updated, the size gets updated basically. We therefore do not update the size ourselves. So what you could do is instead of hardcoding the size, what you could do is to tell it for as long as animals dot size for as long as animal I is less than animal dot size. So what this will be reading internally is for as long as I is less than 8. And if I went ahead to add more values here and say What animal is coming to my head? What animal is coming to my head? Let's say dog. So this should increase by one. The size will increase by one more and becomes what 9. So internally, we do not need to stress ourselves to update this thing to 9 again. Instead, the program will update itself to 9. So this thing remains constant. Anytime, no matter how many values you add here, the size will keep growing, and therefore this one will keep growing as well. Is that clear?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's clever, everybody.
Yes.
To save yourself the stress of having to come back, because you never write a program where you had code a particular number, but instead you had code something that will give you that particular number, as we just done here, animals of size, which is what will give us that number. So it's up, so it updates itself. And when we print it now, everything is going to be printed. So that's it for ArrayList. All right, all right, all right. So I'm printing it. I'm printing it. Let's see what's going to give us on the console. You can see it's giving us everything that we need. So most of the lesson, what you're going to be making use of is size, get, set, remove. You can also remove elements. You can also make use of remove elements. The remove method. Okay, so okay, back to this import I was making mention of. This import statement and this package you're seeing here. So okay, let me start with this import, this package you're seeing here. Whenever you create a package in Java, whenever you create a class in Java inside of a package, the package name is usually what's written on top here. If you look, it is com.example.exchangerate.demo. So I was actually writing a project inside of inside of this package before my class. So and everything is stored inside. If you look, so package is normally having this small dot by the side. That's what makes it a package. So the name of this package, this particular package, is com.excel.exchangerate. And inside of it, I have another sub package called demo. So anytime I'm writing a class, I'm writing inside a class. On top is what the package is going to be. The package name there is what's going to be. So for this particular, for if I go into this one, on top of the package, you see com.example.exchangerate.entity. So it's com.example.exchangerate dot what's the last package name entity. If I check under this one, it will be another thing. It will be if I check under this one, it will be another thing. But because I'm inside demo,
Yeah. But
okay,
I want to. Does it mean that IntelliJ type that automatically once you create a class?
exactly. It gives you that automatically. That's why it's intelligent. You could decide to use other IDE, which will not do it for you automatically. So you have to start typing it manually yourself. So one good thing about IntelliJ is it gives it to you free of charge. Is that okay?
Yes, noted.
Yeah. Then for this other one, import statement you're seeing here, this thing is another package of its own, but it is not part of this project. So other programmers have programmed the programs that different other programmers can use basically, but it will be on different other systems. Or let me put it that way. Now to make use of is it this array list you're making use of now? Some other person have done it and they've made it open source. And by open source, it means that let other programmers use it without any cost, free of charge. And now to bring it inside of a program, this is the line that we use. Import statement is for when it's coming from another another computer. Let me put it that way. It's not part of the project we are writing. When it's coming from elsewhere, and then that elsewhere has a package called Java, and inside the Java you have another package called util, and inside the util you have a class. So this one that's capitalized tells us that it's a class actually. So as I have my own here, com com.example dot exchange rate dot demo and then this class you're seeing here. So this is the class is called the ArrayList. So by default, if I try to let me try to use another. If I try to create another array list, it will not import again because I already imported it once here. I already imported it once here. If I try to use another project that other programmers have used, for example, I want to use set. Let's say this is set for double. I'll call it set equal to new hash set. Give me a second. All right. So let's say new hash set. Observe on top. IntelliJ imported this for us. It didn't import this one. At times it will not go ahead to import it. So what you can do to import that is to what? Over this thing that is showing you right. Put your cursor on top of it. And then this suggestion will come. It will say that it cannot resolve this symbol set. And then when it comes, click the import. Just be looking on top, you see the thing come up. It has imported it for us automatically. Exactly. Exactly. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. So anytime you're seeing import, just note that this is a project that we did not write. We did not write it. Some other programmers have written it, and now we're making use of it. And now, if for example I remove this line here, you see that this particular thing will go faint. You see it. It's faint now because I imported it, but I've not made use of it anywhere. But if I now make use of it here, it will go white. Anytime you see faint, it means that I've not made use of it anywhere or that it is redundant. So I'll be removing this one because I've not made use of it anywhere. So this one, I've made use of it here and a couple other places. That's why it's like this. Any question before the class ends? Alright, I guess we are good. Okay guys, you see when next you see. I'm good now.
Good night.